Welcome to our podcast, The Words That Make Us.
Consider this time with us as your excuse to take a break from everything.
Every episode, we choose a word that makes us think, wonder, or dream. We read a range of texts that explore different aspects of this word.
And we let our thoughts wander. We hope that yours will too. So grab your favourite tea.
Or a beer.
And join me, Rama.
And me, Tony Bailey. Let's go!
So today's episode is about stationery. So, Tony, I found this to be a really interesting topic because I found it really hard to find things on. I mean, your suggestion was very interesting.
I liked it, yeah. It was a very thought-provoking one,
Yeah. I mean, I tried to find, poems about pens and pencils and erasers, and it was very hard.
Pardon?
What?
Why would you be looking at pens and pencils?
Because you said stationery?
No, I meant like stillness, like not moving.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I did. This could be a very short edition.
I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and read my things.
Yeah, you go.
Can just invent as you go.
I'll see what I can come up with. Actually, being a teacher, this shouldn't be too difficult for me.
Because I know you have a thing for stationery, don't you?
Probably an unhealthy thing.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah.
Because when we did talk about it beforehand.
Yeah.
And we discovered that I'm a very big minimalist. To put a
big minimalist? Can you be one of those? Yeah.
I am not really big on stationery at all.
You call yourself a professional teacher and you don't have a stationery fetish.
No, honestly, I'm starting to wonder if I'm a fraud, if I'm not really a teacher, if I'm not in love with stationery.
Last week, our colleague came in the room and gave me 2 pens that she had acquired, shall I say, from the stationery cupboard. And I was so excited. Oh, look at these. And honestly...
Were they identical?
No, different colours, of course.
Oh, my goodness.
2 different colours, but also not pens that I'd ever actually used before, like a type of pen, like a fibre tip.
Okay.
But clearly new in the stationery cupboard.
Oh.
And for me, this was...
Are we branching out now?
Maybe they're just cheap.
Okay.
I don't know. But I don't know.
As well.
But they're not the ones that I'd use normally. Yeah. So it was like, okay.
Is it exciting?
I've got to try this.
Yeah.
Get the paper out. How does this one feel? Ooh, that's nice. For me, it's a really, really somewhat unhealthy central experience with stationery.
It's like a stationery fetish.
I've always absolutely adored stationery.
I've never, ever, not even as a child, I was never excited about... I mean, the most exciting thing I had was the pen that had 4 colours. And some people had 6 colours in it, and you were kept clicking and like, ooh, it's blue, ooh, it's green.
Now, I should be really impressed by that, but I hate those pens.
Yeah, I mean, that was impressive.
Because, again, it's about, for me, stationery is all about quality.
Yeah.
I hate cheap stationery. And those plastic 4-thing biros, they don't last very long. They don't write very well.
But they're so handy.
Well, they
Do you know what I used to do? Because I didn't find them here in Germany, for me to mark, I used to, if I wanted to give feedback to a student, I would give positive feedback in green and negative, or like how to improve in red.
Yeah.
And I actually taped 2 pens together facing the opposite way.
That is so weird.
Sacrilege. I know. People looked at my pen and they were like, what?
I think it must take me a lot longer to do comments because I go through the, that little ceremony of taking the lid off, putting it down, writing my comment, put the lid back, place the pen. It's kind of like
a ritual.
A ritual, yeah.
See, no.
Very ritual. Yeah. So when you were a child, did you not get excited if you got a big packet of felt tip pens and a pad of paper?
Okay.
I mean, I love that.
I did get excited about pencils, like color pencils. Those were really cool.
I've never been a fan of crayons.
No, me neither.
Never been big into
because
crayons.
They're not precise. We like precision, don't we?
You go over the edges with crayons, don't you?
Exactly. It's
whereas pencils, especially if you've got a decent pencil sharpener as well.
Oh, yes, and also
See, look, you're making noises now that is telling me that actually you do secretly
I'll tell you why. I discovered later in life that I really enjoy colouring.
Yeah.
So watercolors or like with pencil.
Yeah.
And so a pen or a pencil that can be sharpened and have a very like sharp edge or tip that you can colour in. Oh my God. Okay, now I'm excited.
Yeah. Those lovely fibre tips. I mean, the thing is, when you are, my daughter's 7, so it's my responsibility to buy stationery products. And I take that responsibility very seriously. We've got to have some decent felt tips because then I can join in with the colouring. And there's some fantastic products there.
Yeah, so when I was younger, what was exciting was colouring pencils.
Yeah.
We discovered erasers or rubbers that had a nice smell to them. Smelled like strawberries or something. That was very exciting.
Not a boy thing. I think boys would only be interested if the smells were horrible.
Like boogers and
boogers or vomit flavour or something. Or poo, dog poo.
So that was exciting. But what was not exciting for us was the notebooks, because our notebooks, for a good while in the 80s, they all had the president's picture on them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and you had to get them. They were given to you for free,
Yeah.
And those were not exciting. They were like an
Could you not put a cover on them or something?
Yes, you could. That's true.
Yeah.
But it was nothing that exciting. So, but pens and pencils... Yeah, now that you remind me of the coloured pencils, yes.
Because I think a lot of children find that as a like we talked about lying, about presents. This is one of those presents. So are you joking? Felt tip pens? But actually, for me, awesome. Any new stationery could just be added to the collection of stationery. It was brilliant.
That's crazy.
I loved it.
I
could never have enough.
I have never had a pen that I liked especially, or coloured paper or something to write letters on, or nothing. These things don't mean anything.
I can even remember back as to childhood, there were different types of felt tip pen.
Yeah.
And there were particular ones that I liked and that I didn't like, and that the smell of pens. Fantastic. Yeah.
You know what I really like, though, when it comes to stationery, something that I find super, super useful, is, look at my laptop.
The Post-it note.
Post-it note.
You are definitely a Post-it note person.
Definitely. I go through a lot of those because that's how I get through the day.
How many different colours have you got?
I don't care about colours so much. So for me, in case you haven't noticed yet, stationery is just about function. I really don't care what it looks like, because I got some fancy Post-it notes from a student once. I never used them.
I'm so surprised because I saw you as one of those people who would browse in a bookshop at these beautiful journaling books with really nice high quality paper and beautiful covers so that you could write your notes and that kind of stuff.
I like that you see me that way. Thank you, Tony.
I could imagine you doing that. Yeah.
I have some of those. I have some really. I go to TK Maxx, which is my favorite place to get.
You can always get a good notebook there.
Absolutely,
can't you?
Yes, and they have
good
these,
price.
covers with gold lettering and things like that. That's really cool. But this morning I journaled in the morning. I just journaled on a piece of paper. I can just even get what was it one time that I wrote on the check-in for a plane.
Really?
Yeah, I'm writing on that.
I couldn't do that.
Oh, see? No. Function.
Really?
Yeah.
I think, there's quite a lot of stuff that I managed to find when I was trying to find stuff on the other stationery, but I also found this stationery as well. And there's a little bit of psychology about people who are into stationery.
Yeah.
I think it means...
Did you find that you were some kind of crazy?
Sad. Sad, crazy. What about the Post-it note? You can tell me. Where did the Post-it note come from?
I love the story of the Post-it notes. And the interesting thing is, I wanted to tell you the story, or maybe I did, I can't remember, when we did our episode on failure. Yeah. Because we were talking about how sometimes failures can be successes, just disguised. Yeah. And so actually, the story is that there was a guy called Spencer Silver, and he wanted to find adhesive that would work in space. So really like good kind of adhesive. And then he couldn't. And instead he had this really weak kind of adhesive that would not stick very well.
Yeah.
And this was the idea of the sticky notes. And the sticky notes actually failed when they first, like, he was like, oh, this is not going to work. And so one of his colleagues a few years later said, how about we try and use this for something else? It did not work. It flopped. It took them another 2 years where they decided to relaunch this thing and give it to some companies for free. Yeah. And then 90% of these companies ended up ordering more. So and they became this sensation that we have.
One of 3M's biggest products. And the Post-it note, we call it the Post-it note, which is trademarked 3M. So it's a bit like the Hoover. Yeah. It's kind of become a generic name, even though other people have done it. There's quite a few stationery products which emerged by accident. I'm thinking off the top of my head now, but I seem to remember bubble wrap, for example. Is that stationery?
It is.
Bubble wrap started out as wallpaper.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of, psychedelic.
So if you bumped into your wall,
you could just pop around your room. It'd be great. But anyway, no, it started out as wallpaper, but then became, what we think is bubble wrap now. Another one was blue tack.
Okay.
Blue tack, the stuff you stick things on the wall.
Yeah.
That started.
I love that invention.
Yeah. I think that rather like also
was chewing gum.
No, it was for cleaning things off walls.
Ah.
Yeah.
Because it's whatever dirt on the wall, you can stick it to
it. Yeah, I think so. Also, what is it that children play with, that sort of modelling stuff that's got a nice smell? Play-Doh. Mm-hmm. Similar sort of thing to Play-Doh. Mm-hmm. Play-Doh originated from, when people had coal fires. Oh. They used to get a lot of black coal dust on the wallpaper or whatever, so they used to use this Play-Doh blue tacky type thing to clean it with.
That's very good. And then they were like, oh, this is actually very satisfying. Let's
I know it's not a stationery product, but frisbees.
Yeah?
Do you know where they originated from?
Is that how you used to behead people? Just
It looks like it, doesn't it? But no, apparently frisbees originally were pie lids. This company used to make pies. Ah. And when people took the pie lid off, the pie was a frisbee. and they took the pie lid off, and they found that people enjoyed playing with the lid more than they did eating the pie. So it became...
They were like, ditch the pie, let's make frisbees.
We don't need to make the... People just buying this so that they can throw the lids. So that's how frisbees became.
Cool.
So anyway, there we go. Yeah, the Post-it note, very good.
The Post-it note, do you know what it used to be called before it became a Post-it note? It used to be called Press and Peel.
Press and Peel?
Yeah. I like it better than Post-its, actually.
I remember when I first came across them, we used to call them yellow stickies.
Yellow stickies?
Which is not...
I mean,
it's not very
where did
nice.
you get that from? Out of my
Could
nose.
I have a yellow sticky? Yeah, that's revolting. Yeah, quite bad. Yeah, but teachers, we're surrounded by stationery addicts. You're not as bad as some, but I come in and I look around at all these desks, and there's just so much stationery and beautiful containers.
Do you have stationery envy sometimes that you're like,
definitely,
you have a stapler, how come I don't have a
stapler? I'm very tempted to pinch it.
I borrow people's stuff and I always give it back, so I don't have to. Yeah, I'm a minimalist. I don't have to have it on my desk. I can just take yours and use it and give it back.
It's not borrowing is not the same as having.
Yeah.
I don't think any of my previous schools will bother to try and catch me now, but I may have borrowed a few items of stationery from previous places.
I think you can't avoid it because you take it home to work with it, to mark papers or to do something, and then
not a photocopier.
You have a photocopier from your old school?
No. Do you want to know about people stealing from work?
Yes.
Actually?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me give you some statistics about theft in the workplace, because I thought this was quite... the most stolen office items, obviously pens. 40% of people who admitted to stealing have stolen pens. 40% have stolen stationery. 29% notebooks. This gets weird. Notebooks. 22% have stolen Tupperware.
What? But that's from other people.
I think that must have been from surely from the fridge.
With food in it.
Maybe. 16% have stolen food and drink.
Ooh.
That must be, Yeah.
Wow. From other people?
Either from the fridge or, there's a crate of beer in the Homewares, 13%. So, bowls, plates.
Okay.
USB sticks are big. 13% of people have stolen USB sticks. 12% have stolen chargers. 10% have stolen money. 10% have stolen mugs. And 8% have stolen phones.
Phones? What phones do you have lying around the school?
Yeah. I don't know.
And money? Where'd
you go
you get
into
the
the
money
secretary's
from?
office and steal their telephone. 2.5 million Britons in a survey of Britons.
Admitted.
Over 1 in 10% of office workers have admitted they've stolen at least something from their workplace. So of the 24.7 million people working in the UK, that means over 2.5 million are guilty. 1.6 million have stolen from their colleagues. 1 in 6 said they've stolen food in the office. 1 in 10 stolen money. And obviously,
I can't believe that.
Stationery is the most stolen item in the workplace. I don't see it as stealing.
If it's there and you use it for work and then you might, it slips into your work bag and ends up at home.
And also, I think there is a grey area between where the workplace is when you're teaching. I mean, I do a large amount of work at home.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't feel bad about taking a notebook and some pens home.
You're doing all of these over hours, so it should be okay.
It should be fair.
Yeah.
Which age groups steal the most in the workplace?
20s and 30s.
25 to 34-year-olds are the most likely to steal valuables.
There you go.
Like money. But the most likely to steal is age 35 to 44.
They're furnishing their house.
Having the odd pen, but they're not stealing.
You said
things.
bowls and dishes and things.
No, it's crazy, isn't it? Women steal because they don't like their workplace.
Oh.
Men steal because they're bored. Most common reason said was they steal because they need the item. Okay. I really need this stapler.
I can't live without it.
But 1 in 5 women said they stole because they didn't like where they work.
So that's their kind of they have to let it out somehow. This is their little way of protesting.
Yeah. 25% of people who work in the law profession have stolen from their workplace.
Which is ironic.
Which is the highest percentage of all the professions.
Given that they're in law.
Well, yeah, teacher training and education, 13.5%. That's a lie, isn't it?
I think it's a lie.
Law, 25%. Maybe it's because they were told they had to swear to the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
So help them God.
Yeah.
But the thing is about teachers is that I think, I do believe that not many teachers steal things because teachers are obsessed with going to these stationery shops and they buy, all of the teachers that I know, like, look what I found at, I don't know, this shop and that shop and they have it on special offer and I can give you some whiteout and, it's
my
crazy.
Goodness. Don't you get slightly excited when it's up? Because we're coming up towards the summer break.
Yeah.
So all of the shops
supermarkets
will start to be full of notepads, planners.
Zero excitement. Zero excitement, Tony.
Oh, God.
The only thing that I get excited about if I find it on sale is, I don't know what it's called. This, the white out that you don't use a brush for, not the Tipex, but the thing that rolls like on a wheel. And you don't have to blow on it to dry. You don't have to wait.
Always a good thing.
I love that one.
I have a problem with those, though.
Why?
Those little wheelie things. Because they don't... Yeah, they're quite difficult to work with.
That's because you're clumsy.
It's a good thing I never make mistakes. Yeah. How do you feel about it? So... If I have a brand new notebook, I love it. I've got this empty notebook. Does anybody want it? Yeah, my hand's straight up. I want it. So I've got a drawer at home, and I must have at least 20 empty, hardback, proper, nice ones. And then in terms of notebooks, exercise books, must be 100.
Really?
Empty ones.
And you don't use
lined
them?
paper, squared paper, every kind of paper. When I was in France a lot, their stationery is just gorgeous. I've got loads and loads of folders with paper and stuff. My house is just a stationery shop. Basically.
Yeah, because I know that you're not a hoarder. You're somebody who likes you don't like clutter at all.
I don't see this as hoarding. I see this as necessary supplies.
I'm sorry, this is hoarding, but you're allowed one area of hoarding.
Yeah, this is my area. Yeah. But if I open one of those little notebooks, so you say you're journaling on the back of a fag packet or something.
I have nice ones at home, but if I'm stuck at an airport, I'll just use whatever to write on.
You see, I won't journal unless it's in the right. It's got to be good.
Nope.
But then, if I start journaling or writing notes in a book, I make a mistake.
You see?
Oh God! I'm really upset. This beautiful book should be beautiful all the way through. I mean, that's why I do a lot of writing now on the iPad, because you can rub that out easily enough.
That actually reminds me of when I was thinking about the difference between pens and pencils. Why some people, especially some cultures, if you have your Japanese students, they always want to write with pencil.
Yeah.
And you're no, at a certain age, you have to commit to writing with a pen.
Yeah, absolutely. It is like a commitment, isn't it? You have to.
Of course. And it's you have to, at some point, accept that you have to be careful and try not to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And, it's really interesting because to me, it's kind of like an analogy of being young and growing up. When you're younger, they let you write with a pencil and then you can erase that, write over it many times.
Yeah.
But then when you're older, they're okay, that's enough with a pencil now. You have to use a proper pen.
You're big enough to use a pen
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what kind of signal do you think we're giving the students when we say that? Honestly, I mean, how, when we say no, does that mean you're not allowed to make mistakes anymore? Does that mean...
I never really thought about the psychology of it, but I think really we should be allowing people to write with whatever they want to.
I think the only problem with the pencil is that after some time it can smudge and it can disappear.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem with it.
Well, we sort of got to prepare them for the exams where it's stated that they have to write in blue or black ink. So
it's an official document.
You've got to get them to that state, haven't you?
Yeah.
I suppose. You mentioned about Japanese and stationery.
Yeah. They love their stationery, don't they? They have the cutest.
Have you been in a Japanese stationery store?
No, but I've seen girls who are Japanese. I have seen amazing stationery.
I've seen some girls who are Japanese. What are you talking about? And they weren't stationary when they saw me. They ran.
They ran. No, so have you been inside a Japanese stationery shop?
Well, there's a number of chains in London now where clearly most of their stock is coming from Japan.
Yeah. So other than Hello Kitty and the cuteness, what is it that makes it different?
I did a bit of research. I mean, because it's all beautiful. And I think in particular the paper. The paper's lovely. This
creamy,
lovely, thick paper. So I was trying to find out why. What was the appeal? Why Japanese? Why not Germans?
Yeah. Oh. Germans are all about function.
So, yeah, exactly. So for Japan, it goes a lot more than beyond just mere function or functionality, because it's part of their cultural ethos. So stationery, not just a tool for communication, but also an expression of your identity, your taste, your respect for tradition. Stationery embodies attention to detail, exquisite design, commitment to quality, craftsmanship. It's part of your home.
Wow.
Tracing all the way back to, if you think about their writing and the importance of calligraphy, so the importance of being able to make those elegant strokes of calligraphy and needing sufficiently heavy-duty paper to
that kind of absorb
the ink.
Yeah,
you can see why that would probably be more important to you than just writing on a little notebook with a little pencil.
I see that.
There's a lot of social etiquette as well, and gift-giving rituals in Japan.
Around stationery or in general?
Well, if you think about all of the gift wrapping, the boxes that you put presents in, if you think about all of those as being stationery as well, then that is... I've never seen an Asian person wrap a present up like I do. They mine looks like it's a come from the butcher's shop.
A bit of newspaper.
I've tried so hard, but people wrapping and beautiful ribbon work or
and
putting
bows.
a beautiful box or in a nice bag, and it's so beautiful.
Cellophane, yeah, I know.
I mean, I sort of think, this is all going in the bin. Why did you bother with
that?
that?
That's how I feel as well.
But that
it's all in the presentation, isn't it?
Well, it symbolises that you're thoughtful and gratitude and respect and whatever, that somebody's gone to all that trouble for your present. Whereas Tony turns up.
But maybe those people are trying to hide how ugly the thing inside is.
Could be.
And whereas you give something of essence, and then it doesn't matter how it's presented.
Yeah, I have to make sure I buy a decent present to make up for the really poor wrapping that goes with it.
What I love is these nice bags, the paper bags that you can buy with some glitter on them, or and just stick the present in there, and that's good enough.
That's true. Bottle of wine in one of those bottle bags.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Although little Georgie wasn't that happy when she got a bottle of wine for her birthday. Yeah.
She did not.
No, I'm joking.
Okay, good. Not from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I find that very exciting, although I don't buy anything in those shops. I just
just go in to browse.
I do.
Aww.
If I'm at the airport shops, or if I'm at a station, or if I've got half an hour to spare in the town centre,
that's interesting.
I won't head to a shoe shop. I won't head. I'm probably going to have a coffee, but my shop of choice would be a major stationery department.
That's the last shop I would go into. Really? That's really, really interesting.
Gosh, I thought we were compatible.
I thought so too, Tony.
Oh, no. What are we going to do? Yes.
I found some really nice quotes on pens and pencils that I would like to read to you. And this is to make up for the lack of poetry, because I did not find much poetry on this. I am really amazed that you did, because
I've got a few items, but we can, Tell me about pencils, because I love pencils.
So, pencils. What really matters in a pencil is not its wooden exterior, but the graphite inside. So, always pay attention to what's happening inside you. That's Paulo Coelho.
Ah, that's clever.
We like Paulo Coelho.
You should never drop your pencil on the floor, on a hard floor.
Why?
It cracks the graphite inside the pencil.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How frustrating are those pencils when you sharpen them and then the graphite inside falls apart and you sharpen again and that? Have you had that?
Cheap pencils.
Maybe that's just
the thing with stationery is that you can't shortcut the quality.
No, I agree. No, a good pencil is worth something.
Yeah.
Did you know there are different kinds of pencils? Like different
red ones, blue ones,
not
green ones, big ones, little ones.
No, but it's like it depends on the.
You can talk like the HP2s.
Yeah,
I
did not know that. Yeah. I had no idea.
I was amazed when Georgie started at school. So we got the stationery list.
Yeah.
And it specified exactly that there must be an HB2 and an HB3 or something like that in the kit. Absolutely clear what every item, every kid has their stationery listed, and you have to provide it. Yeah,
exactly. And it's really interesting because it's like, it has to be this. The teacher said this. I'm
absolutely.
Like, it doesn't have to be. A pencil is a pencil. No, a pencil is not a pencil. It's like,
no.
They're all very different.
We had to have a glue stick. We had to have a certain set of colours.
I mean, that I get. That I do get, but it's like, it doesn't have to be a certain thing, does it? Anyway, I thought I had something about the types of pencils, but yeah, I'll find it. But can I tell you the story of the pencil?
Yes. Who invented them? How did? I mean, because it's quite an interesting design, isn't it?
It is.
How did you come up with that?
At first, apparently, they put the graphite inside of like branches or something. I don't know. I can't remember what kind of tree it was, and they put it in there, and then they wrote with that, and then
something like bamboo's got like it's hollow inside.
Exactly, it's hollow inside. So just use that.
Yeah.
So it says the story of the pencil is long and convoluted, but from the day of discovery, the graphite made the modern pencil possible. It has been a magical object. In the early days, it was treated as contraband and exchanged in secret by artists and intellectuals.
Gosh.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Even after hundreds of years, when a single pencil is worth almost nothing to those in modern cities, a pencil is still a piece of magic. According to Discovery Magazine 2007, the average pencil can write... Let's see. I was really shocked when I saw the number. It can write 45,000 words.
Wow.
45,000 words.
Gosh.
And it turns out actually it does a lot more. So in 2007, a group of volunteers decided to put this theory to the test. They were able to write To Kill a Mockingbird using only one pencil.
Gosh.
The novel contains 100,388 words.
Gosh,
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
Yeah,
I do love a pencil.
So I bought Georgie a pencil for her school year. Mm-hmm. And it's now about 3 centimetres long. So it started out really long. In fact, it's possibly, she can still write with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, do you want another pencil? Because I might have a supply of pencils that I may possibly have
collected over the years.
In another place. Not in the school, honest.
No, not this school. Other schools.
But no, she will not replace it. She wants this pencil to
disappear at some point.
Aww. And she keeps sharpening it and will keep going. And I can understand that.
That's
Although for me, I'm not a fan of well-used stationery. So with a pencil, once it's kind of
past its prime,
you've used a third of it.
Yeah,
it's not regulation length anymore to write with.
What does that say about you, Tony? Do you discard of people once they are past their prime?
Maybe this is maybe my relationship with stationery is very similar to my relationship with women.
I hoard them.
I only want the best, but once they've run out of juice or ink, I discard them for another one.
That's hilarious.
And if I spoil them in any way,
then they're gone.
They're gone. That makes a lot of sense.
Right? Now I understand you completely.
Yeah.
Okay, but more quotes about the pencil. I really like this one from John Bon Jovi. Map out your future, but do it in pencil. The road ahead is as long as you make it. Make it worth the trip.
Whoa. Living on a prayer. That absolutely. Well, if John Bon Jovi said it, I then respect because I like him.
Yeah, I like him.
But that's true.
It's true. Like map it in pencil. Give it. It might change, and you have to be open to that. If you write it in pen and you think, okay, this is set in stone, you're going to be disappointed a lot.
How do you feel about pencils that? Not the ones that you sharpen, but the ones that
you click, the mechanical ones.
Yeah, I'm quite a big fan.
I don't like them. They're very frustrating. Because
they are frustrating.
You want to write a little bit and then they keep breaking. And then no, that's not the point of a pencil.
You have to have a light touch. You must be a little bit
aggressive.
Aggressive with your pencil.
I don't know about that. Nobody's ever said that to me before.
Tough with your HB.
Yeah.
So, the most famous pencils in Germany are made by Faber-Castell.
Yeah.
And they make some beautiful pencil sets.
They do.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I like it when I get to do colouring with Georgie when she doesn't want to use her felt tip pens.
Yeah.
Because I think felt tips are good, but they're a bit vulgar, aren't they, really, when it comes to colouring?
The thick ones, yes.
Whereas pencils...
Yeah, no, they're very elegant.
Shading and... Yeah. So do you know when Faber-Castell was... is the world's oldest branded writing instrument company, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Here in Germany. Mm-hmm. Do you know when it was formed? Anything about it? When do you suspect?
I'm suspecting late 1800s.
Yeah, I would have thought that, but 1761.
Wow.
Caspar Faber started making the first Bleiweißstift pencils in a small workshop in Ansbach in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah. And it became a small family business. Lothar von Faber, Caspar's great-grandson, was the name that went on the pencils with the company now called A.W. Faber. And that's where all the standard lengths, diameters, and grades of lead hardness that are still in use today were first set by around 1840.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been running since then. And then the company had to kind of get itself back because during the war, World War One hit the company hard and it lost all of its American subsidiaries were basically lost. And it only managed to buy them back in 1994.
Oh, really?
And of course, also in the war, there's a big impact on the business. But anyway, yeah. And not until 1949 they were the first German company to include ballpoint pens in their range. So up until 1949, they just produced pencils. I bet it smells fantastic. Their factory.
All that wood.
The smell of the wood and the lead. Yeah.
Speaking of the war, you said something about the war. I found this really cute. Paper clips apparently really helped beat the Nazis in Norway, because apparently...
Did they throw them at them?
Yes, that was our die. No, they put them in their lapels, people who were in the resistance, put them there, and that was the way to recognize each other and to get organized. And so I found that really lovely.
Great. I love paper clips. They're so multifunctional because you can clip things together. Yeah. But you can also fold these things out and make all sorts of things with paper clips.
I learned how to make hearts out of them when I was younger, and that was like all of my papers had heart-shaped paper clips. That was very cute.
And then I've got a box of paper clips. Yeah. I've got a box next to that of those like clip things, not paper clips, but with like jaws that you can clip things together as well.
I see, okay, yeah.
Different sizes, obviously, because the thickness of the document requires different.
I have none of those.
You have none of those. And then I have another box that's just got lots of those graphite leads for my propelling pencil. I've got another tin that's just full of ink cartridges, different colours. Because I absolutely love writing with a fountain pen. Really love it. And I also like using one of these like rollerball pens that uses cartridge ink, because I like the ink flow with that too.
Very interesting. Yeah, I don't.
So I've got all sorts. I've got magnets. I've got loads of magnets.
Do you have a pen that you use only for when you write like birthday cards or things like that?
I have a special pen. Yeah.
Okay. Is it blue or is it a different colour?
I can't tell you.
Is it a secret?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I've actually been to school. I even bought a little leather case with 2 compartments. Yeah. One for my special pen and one for my special propelling pencil. And they're my go-to. So if I'm writing and it's special, it needs to be neat, or somebody's going to look at it.
Then you will use.
I will use either of those.
Wow.
Whereas for everyday use, I'll use normal fibre tip pens or something.
So that means that you have neat and nice handwriting, huh?
I have got lovely handwriting, actually.
I see. It's really funny how we've been working together and we know each other so well. I've never seen your handwriting because we do everything on the computer.
It is bizarre, isn't it? Because
it's really
you used
bizarre
to be I can recognise all of my students from their handwriting.
Yeah, I can.
But I could not recognise
any of the teachers' handwriting. Yeah.
That's weird,
really
isn't it?
Strange, really strange.
Gosh.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I don't care for pens so much, because my handwriting, again, is functional. It is just very easy to read, but it's not pretty.
So what happened when you were at school? How were you taught to write? Do you remember that as an experience? What was the way in which you were taught?
So I don't remember how I was taught, but I do remember that my dad made a big deal out of something that I found really not very big. So when I learned how to write, I used to hold the pen or pencil with 3 fingers, supported with my middle finger, and that didn't look very pretty, but I would write like this, but it worked. Yeah. And my dad was it was like, no, you do not do that. You just use your index finger and your thumb, and you write like this, and then, But the interesting thing is, I was writing in Arabic the other day in front of somebody, and they were like, how do you do that? You write from right to left. That means you're smudging your writing as you go.
How do you do that?
I don't know. And I never thought about that. But to be honest, our writing was often smudged because you were going over what you wrote with your hand.
Like being left-handed. How does that work?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you think that because you wrote in Arabic, that had an impact on the quality of your handwriting in English?
It did. Because when I wrote in English, I never learned cursive. I always printed. So that's the thing, is I write the way I see in books and stuff. Yeah. I don't, and I hate cursive. Because cursive is different in every country, and it's very confusing, and it's very hard to read, and it's a waste of time. But then people will tell you, no, writing in cursive is good because that means you don't have to keep picking your hand off of the paper all the time. You just flow. Do you write cursive or do you print?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And
did you have a good experience learning how to write?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I remember the teacher. We used to have these books, and they had dotted letters, and we used to go and we learned not with a pencil,
With a pen?
But with an ink pen.
Oh, really?
Right from the get-go, we were taught how to write with a proper writing instrument. And so I still got them at home. These beautiful books with me learning how to write.
Aww.
And then gradually learning to do joined-up writing. And yeah, I loved it. I take a lot of pride in my handwriting.
Yeah, it's like a form of art. Like it's your identity. It's who you are.
And a funny story related to handwriting is that I always believed I was going to be a professional footballer, as you know.
Yeah.
So when I wasn't playing football, I spent a lot of time practicing my autograph with my favourite pen.
I did that too.
Signing it. How could I make my name look the best?
Yeah.
Which pen?
Yeah. Which pen as well?
Which pen gives the best signature?
Okay.
I can't. My signature doesn't look as good with a biro as with an ink pen.
Yeah.
It doesn't flow. There's a nice. I've got like a
a
little bit of a twirl
tilt.
in
Yeah.
it. It doesn't come out with the biro.
Regular bolt.
Are you a biro fan?
I used to love my fountain pen only when I took a course in calligraphy when I was it was a summer little course.
I think that might be something I'll do when I retire.
It was gorgeous.
I love it. Yeah.
Because they said to you, okay, buy a good quality fountain pen, and we're going to cut the tip off and make like at a slanted angle.
Yeah.
And then you wrote with that, and then there were different kinds of calligraphy in Arabic, of course, different types. Yeah. And I loved writing. And then my handwriting was really nice. But when I write on a daily basis, my handwriting is really... But yeah, no, I don't know where those pens were. I lost them pretty quickly. No, I don't really care about these things. It's really interesting.
Gosh. Weird. Is it time for... So I've got a poem that talks about whether pens are better than pencils. It's not,
Let's see.
It's quite funny.
Yeah.
Should we read that?
Yes.
Have a bit of a reading. It's called Pens Are Better Than Pencils by contemporary guy Dan Brown. Pens are better than pencils because they're clearer. Pens are better than pencils because they're smoother. Pens are better than pencils because they don't snap. Pens are better than pencils because... Oh, hang on. I spelt that wrong. I need to just correct... Oh, point taken. Yeah.
I like that.
That's good.
And I agree, pencils are better than pens. He understood that in the end, didn't he?
Yeah. For the first piece of work. I mean, I think, if I'm writing notes or not sure, or particularly like if I'm doing maths, for example, I'll do it in pencil first. And then when I have completed the task, I will then write it properly in ink. I
really like that you're so meticulous.
Anally retentive.
Well, meticulous. Let's just say,
meticulous.
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't have that kind of attention to detail. I write to the best of my ability, and.
But I don't see it as a failure. I don't see it as a sin. I think it's just about different backgrounds. And I think when I was at school, obviously the teacher that I had was so meticulous and so wanted all of the children to write really nicely that we all had the same mindset about it. So it wasn't strange for me to be like that.
I see. Yeah. It's also a generational thing. I think they did not care so much about it had to be legible, but it did not have to be very pretty or anything like that when I was younger. Yeah,
no, we used to get, marked down if our work was untidy.
Yeah.
Not if, you could write a genius piece, but there was no patience for spelling mistakes or, smudge of ink on the paper or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas now we look at our students' work and it's like, couldn't you maybe write it on a different piece of paper before you handed it to me? It's like...
Because back in the old days, you didn't do things on a computer. So if you wrote it, then that was what you were going to hand in.
Yeah, but that's what the students hand in as well. They're like, you crossed it. If you crossed out a few things, more than 3 or 4 things, clearly you have to redo that. You can't just give me that. But, and with like, arrows coming out of from this line to that line and all of that, don't give me work honestly, like that.
So when my kids do write exams or tests, sometimes I just, it's so impossible to see or understand what they've been writing, and it's all over the place.
And we shouldn't tolerate that. No. Actually.
I tell you about what happened to my my geography A-level project.
What happened?
So it was on my bedroom floor. I'd written it by hand, and it was beautiful, meticulously written in beautiful blue ink and whatever. And my parents bought a puppy.
So literally, he ate your homework.
No, he didn't eat it. It did number 2s all over. It pooped.
No.
On my geography not homework, my
project,
my A-level project.
Oh my goodness.
And it was like, I can't write all of this out. What a mess. So I did
clean it off.
Clean it off.
No.
So that the front cover did have a slightly brownish tint, looking like it was, one of these old documents.
It's papyrus, miss. It's just papyrus.
Yes, it's from an old pirate ship. And I handed it in to my teacher. It's like, what's this, Bailey? Sorry, I dropped it, sir. Not telling him that the dog had pooed on it.
I was drinking tea.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Gosh. What else?
So, I was looking at some interesting facts about stationery, and I found this thing about Crayola. And it was really sweet because apparently when they launched, they had food-scented crayons.
Oh, yeah. Did people eat them?
Actually, that's the thing. Is like apparently it was very few people that ended up eating them. Less than 10, I think. Let me see. Let me read it to you so it's accurate. So they were available in mouth-watering favorites such as coconut, licorice, chocolate, cherry, and blueberry.
Yeah.
These were withdrawn 1 year later because parents were concerned that children would eat them for breakfast or try to blow bubbles with them. Crayola received fewer than 10 reports. So only less than 10 reports. 10 people said that they had a problem with it, but they still withdrew them just to be on the safe side.
This is sort of tells you a lot about
the
parents
company
versus children.
Yeah.
Like, children clearly going to look at it and think, it's a robber, I'm not going to eat it. It just smells nice, right? Yeah. Whereas
parents being overprotective.
Yeah.
But so now they changed it, and they don't have food-scented crayons anymore. Now they have something like baby powder, leather jacket, dirt, cedar chest, and the overpopular new car smell.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that this is a popular scent. A flavor like
I don't like the smell, but it's very recognizable. But I wouldn't want to buy something that had the new car
that smells like that.
Yeah.
Something else that I discovered. Why do you think these pens? First of all, why do you think there was the need to invent ballpoint pens? Why not stick with the fountain ones, other than the mess that they make?
Well, I know the story of how the big biro was invented. But I don't know whether it's true or apocryphal. So I know where the invention came from. Was it something to do with space flight or
yes, exactly.
something like that?
So they were worried that at high altitudes the fountain pens would explode or lose their ink. So they made those pens instead. And then the question, or the thing that I found very interesting, is that why do these caps, why do they have a hole in them?
Oh, I know about that too. So although it hasn't necessarily worked, because the biggest cause of stationery-related deaths is people swallowing pen lids.
Exactly.
So I think it was... Back in my day, we didn't have holes in the big biro lid.
Really?
No.
So this is a later invention.
This is woke.
I love it. So now if you
madness.
Swallow it, you still won't choke because it has a hole in it, and you can breathe through it.
You still may well, die. Do you know how it was actually invented, though?
The biro pen?
Yeah.
No.
And the inventor was called Biro. Laszlo Biro. In 1930, Hungarian inventor. He observed children playing with marbles in a puddle. And he noticed that when he rolled the marbles, it left a trail of water.
Wow.
And this gave him an idea. Why not use a ball-shaped metal nib for writing rather than a sharp one with a chamber of ink?
Wow.
And this became the initial design idea for the ballpoint pen. Shared the idea with his brother, Georgi, who was a chemist, and together they researched and developed a working combination. They presented this at the Budapest International Fair in 1931, patented it in 1938, and then ran away to Argentina because of the Second World War, which is always a bit questionable, and founded a company there. Initially unsuccessful, but they secured a contract with the British Air Force, which is possibly the link, therefore, with air travel, whatever. So, and then Société Bic is a French stationery company named after the Bic biro, or they bought the rights to the Bic biro, and that's where they founded too. So quite interesting.
I like Bic. That's a good pen. But when I was younger, there was a different kind of French pen that we loved. I don't know. I'm showing you a picture here. Have you seen this before? This kind of pen?
Yeah.
What would it be called?
Is it a fiber tip or is it?
No, it's not. It's a ballpoint. It's
it's very much like a Bic, but it's instead of having that clear plastic,
it's slender and long, and the ink was a bit lighter.
It's slightly bendy.
No, this was easily breakable, actually.
Oh, gosh.
And we loved it. That was the best pen to write with. It was an elegant ball pen.
Yeah. What do you think the most expensive pen is?
Like brand or something that was pre-owned?
Oh.
Because some vintage pens might be very expensive.
The most expensive pen that you can buy new.
Okay. Is it a fountain pen?
It is a fountain pen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it French?
Or rather, the most expensive pen ever sold.
Okay.
Sold at auction is the Fulgor Nocturnus by Tibaldi, which sold for $8 million at auction. There you are, I'll show you a picture.
Yeah. It's diamond studded.
Yeah. Translated from Latin, Fulgor Nocturnus means night glow. Ooh. Which seems appropriate given the black diamond bling.
That looks fancy.
123 rubies, 945 black diamonds, and gold. This is a pen that I would steal from work. Yeah. So I
think this is a pen that nobody would bring to work, Tony.
Why would you have a pen like that? Because you'd never want to use it, surely.
I think this is just for you to sign your checks.
You have somebody else sign your checks.
You think?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, why would you have a pen like that? It's like I've seen a car that is also covered in diamonds. Why? What's the point?
Well, I'm going to sort of go back on my word because I said, quality is king. And I think that's true. But when you see people go and buy a Mont Blanc pen and pay hundreds of euros for a pen.
Have you done that?
No.
Okay.
No. I've never spent an extreme. I have the same attitude to stationery as I have to cars, really.
Yeah.
I think you shouldn't skimp on it because you'll pay the price.
It's your safety, yeah.
But then there's a point after which
where
you're
it's ridiculous.
Just paying for
status.
The story that you can tell that you paid a lot of money for your pen.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you.
Yeah. Shall we have another reading?
Yes, go on.
Because the pen, the precursor to the pen, of course, was the quill. Actually, I was thinking about you yesterday. There was the Donau Fest on the side of the River Donau, and I stopped at a stall, and there was this guy selling beautiful quill pens and little bottles of ink and stamps, and the wax, so you could, really traditional,
that.
really
nostalgic.
Pleasing. Yeah. I loved it. It got me thinking about the quill pen and how far we've come from that, really. And the most famous piece of writing about the quill pen was Lord Byron. 1788 to 1824. Byron being the slightly debauched and Gothic sort of poet, but he wrote a very, very long testament about writers and writing. But there's one section about it which is particularly about his quill pen. So I thought I'd read that to you because I liked it. My quill. Oh, nature's noblest gift, my grey goose quill, slave of my thoughts, obedient to my will, torn from thy parent bird to form a pen, that mighty instrument of little men. The pen, foredoomed to aid the mental throes of brains that labour, big with verse or prose. Though nymphs forsake and critics may deride the lover's solace and the author's pride. What wits, what poets dost thou daily raise? How frequent is thy use? How small thy praise? Condemned at length to be forgotten quite, with all the pages which 'twas thine to write. But thou, at least, mine own especial pen, once laid aside, but now assumed again, our task complete, like Hamet's shall be free, though spurned by others, yet beloved by me. Then let us soar today. No common theme, no eastern vision, no distempered dream inspires. Our path, though full of thorns, is plain. Smooth be the verse, and easy be the strain.
This is lovely.
That kind of just discourse about the potential that is in there in the pen.
Yeah.
All of the things that it hasn't yet written. All of the that mighty instrument.
Yeah, this amazing thing that might
come. It's true, isn't it? The pen is mightier than the sword. Another famous, expression.
It's funny because I was going to read that to you just now. So Terry Pratchett said, "The pen is mightier than the sword if the sword is very short and the pen is very sharp."
Yeah, that's true.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And when you look at like the revolutions and all of that, really, like you can change the course of history with something that is written rather than with a whole army. It's really cool.
It is true.
Yeah.
And you look at how much power the written word has now. It's incredible.
It's incredible. I mean, propaganda comes from the written word sometimes. You can really change the whole ideologies of people. It's something.
The origin of the source or source of the quote, "The pen is mightier than the sword."
Is it Shakespeare?
No.
What?
No, but I thought it would be.
Is it the Bible pen?
No. It's Manchester United. No, it wasn't. Attributed to a gentleman called Edward Bulwer Lytton, and appears in his play Richelieu, or The Conspiracy of 1839. And he said, "True this, beneath the rule of men entirely great, the pen is mightier than the sword. Behold the arch-enchanter's wand, itself a nothing, but taking sorcery from the master hand to paralyze the Caesars and to strike the loud earth breathless. Take away the sword. States can be saved without it."
Absolutely.
Kind of that premise that you don't need to fight when you can sword. The pen is mightier than the sword. But Shakespeare has said quite a lot about his trusted pen. Let me find you. So of course it's expected that he wrote with a quill pen like Byron, because the biro, as we know, it wasn't really invented in those days. Yeah. But he wrote a lot of things about writing and the art of writing and the things that he wrote with. So let's find some quotes for you. To be a well-favoured man is the gift of fortune, but to write and read comes by nature. People's good deeds we write in water, the evil deeds are etched in brass.
I love this.
That's good, isn't it?
It's very true.
Is that a reference to money, the brass?
Probably, yeah. This is so true because sometimes unfortunately you will do a million good things and it's written in water, but then you do one bad thing and it's in your record forever.
It's true. Write till your ink be dry, and with your tears moist it again, and frame some feeling lie that may discover such integrity. I like that. Never durst poet touch a pen to write until his ink were tempered with love's sighs.
That's awesome.
Isn't that good?
It's like writing is a calling, something has to happen, some kind of passionate thing has to happen for the ink to flow.
Something about, I love Shakespeare's writing. It just, the way that it comes out. It doesn't matter that it's complicated.
Exactly.
It's just beautiful.
So
it's like eating something really, really delicious.
Delicious, yeah.
See if I can find one more to finish about writing. Let there be gall enough in thy ink, though thou write with a goose pen, no matter. So the goose pen was like the big biro of the time, I guess. It was probably
something very special.
Not the special one. Yeah, so Shakespeare was obviously a fan of the pen and used it like he did with so many other objects.
Yeah, well,
to be analogous to the human condition. Yeah.
I found a little parable about the pencil. I really liked it as well. So I found it on Quora, of all places.
Gosh.
But I had heard it before, but this was nicely formulated. So it says, the pencil maker took the pencil aside just before putting him into a box. There are 5 things you need to know, he told the pencil, before I send you out into the world. Always remember them and never forget, and you will become the best pencil you can be. 1. You will be able to do many great things, but only if you allow yourself to be held in someone's hand. 2. You will experience a painful sharpening from time to time, but you'll need it to become a better pencil. I love that. This is about hardship and how it shapes us.
Yeah.
3. You will be able to correct any mistakes you might make.
Yeah.
That's also really cool.
That's also true.
We have to make mistakes and know that we can correct them, and that's how we grow. 4. The most important part of you will always be what's inside.
That's also true.
It's really cool. It's not the wood that's on the outside, it's the quality of the graphite that's inside. And 5, on every surface you are used on, you must leave your mark. No matter what the condition, you must continue to write.
So good.
So
that's really great. I love that.
I love that analogy of the human experience, because it's like, it's true. You have to, sometimes we have to let ourselves be led by others and be a tool for change. But that last one, first when I read it, I was like, that's a bit tokenistic. But then when you think about it, you have to leave a mark on the world. You can't just like cruise by.
What was the point?
Why were you here? Exactly.
What's the point of having a pencil?
Or being on
being
Earth.
a pencil.
Exactly.
If you're not making a mark.
Exactly. And so we have to make mistakes, and we have to just accept that, and we have to be able to correct our mistakes. And I found that parable really cute.
Yeah, that's really good.
So did you find anything in the Bible?
I didn't really look, because the pen as such didn't really exist.
Yeah.
I suppose I looked a little bit about the history of, but no, I didn't find anything with religious significance.
I read
what
to
about
you
from the Quran?
Something from the Quran.
Yeah.
And then you read to me a little bit about the history, and then we go.
Yeah, sounds good.
What I like about this, apparently it was mentioned 4 times in the Quran, the pen.
Yeah.
But this one that I particularly like is, there's a special reason why I like it. It starts by the pen and what they inscribe, you are not, O Muhammad, by the grace of your Lord, a madman, and yours shall be an unfailing reward, and you indeed are of tremendous character. So basically he was called a madman. He was, because of his calling, and he was like, I'm a prophet. They were like, no, you're just a madman. But the reason why I like this, and this is the one that I chose to read to you, is because Allah, who said that to him, swore by the pen And it just to show, that the pen was very important. It's like writing.
I've heard that phrase, but I swear by the pen.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
It's really interesting how, 1400 years ago, by the pen and what they inscribe, you are not a madman.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So it says in this explanation of it that I found, according to the commentators of the Quran, God's choice of swearing by the pen here is actually quite profound. The pen in the visible and unseen realm serves several important functions. The pen records, at the hand of angelic scribes, the deeds of people, whether the deeds are big or small. Nothing of what we do physically or mentally escapes the inscription of the pen. Which is really interesting because everything is written down, and it just, which also is interesting because the irony of it is Muhammad was illiterate. He couldn't read or write.
Right.
But then it's showing that, the pen, which is like maybe stands for knowledge, is really important.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. What were they writing on? Because paper is still moderately
a modern
recent.
invention.
So they're probably writing on animal skin, weren't they?
I think animal skin is what they wrote on at first.
Parchment? Is that?
Maybe parchment came later.
So, yeah. Wow. I think it's... I love the image. I remember when I did Latin at school, but to try and make it a bit more interesting, the Latin teacher used to try and bring it alive and for a couple of lessons, we weren't allowed to use paper and pencils. We had to use wax tablets.
Oh,
it was really cool.
That's really cool.
So a little like a slate of wax and having to have a little scraper to scrape into the wax, because I think that's what they used.
That's how they did it. Okay,
to write, and
great.
That was really cool.
That's very cool. That's a good teacher there.
Yeah.
What I've heard about Latin teachers is that they're all very old and archaic in a way.
Most of them were.
Yeah.
And slightly sadistic as well. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
So what can I tell you? Well, actually, rather than doing history, let me just give you my business management summary to finish.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important that you know what the state of the global stationery market is.
It's very important. Yeah. I couldn't sleep tonight if I didn't know.
Exactly. So the global stationery products market size was valued, this is in 2022, so it's a little bit out of date, but
it's still fine.
$145 billion and is projected to grow to be about $213 billion by 2030.
This is amazing, given that we don't write so much anymore. We type everything.
I was really surprised. I was expecting to be telling you about how this is an industry,
a dying industry, exactly.
But it's not true. So do you think that included in this statistic are all of those things we've talked about for homes, schools and offices, notebooks, pen, scissors, highlighters, whatever? So why is it going up? Well, because of the rise in population.
Yeah.
Asia Pacific in particular has shown huge growth in the stationery product market. More than doubling in size since 2017.
Doubling in size since 2017?
Yeah. More people in education, more people in work. Reasons why the stationery products market growth. Rising number of art schools in North America and European countries has generated significant product demand. Rising product sales through e-commerce platforms. So, especially with COVID, although you would have expected nobody to be buying anything, people bought a lot of stationery because they bought it online because they were at home and they could write. And this has become a new pastime. People do journal and they do sticker books and they do they do all sorts of paper-based things because it's tactile. You see.
Yeah.
Although digitization in schools and colleges may hamper market growth, the rise in population and the rise in education across the world is counterbalancing that.
Wow.
Because there's more people who need paper in those places. Most demand is still for paper products. So we think of paper being something that's going to be faded out. But 37% of global stationery product is paper still. Asia Pacific is where the real growth is. Obviously, the United States is big, but the growth is in Asia Pacific. So quite interesting.
Speaking of paper, actually, you just reminded me now. My very good friend, she loves nice, good quality paper, and she buys it wherever she goes, in whichever country she has to go to the stationery shop and buy this nice colored paper that has patterns all over it, and she makes little origami shapes from it, and then uses those things that she makes, and they're tiny, you know, like really small pieces, and she puts them on canvases and stuff and makes art out of them. And it's really, I had never seen that before. And then I went to the British Museum last year, and they had earrings, and on the earrings there were also origami, like paper origami things, and they looked beautiful. And so I had no idea people could use paper to make art without drawing on it, without doing anything on it, just from shaping it.
I think it's fascinating, really amazing skill and art to do that. But I've said so the market globally is growing, but let's look at our country, Germany. So how many businesses in office supply and stationery retail trade in Germany? How's that looking?
I think they're closing, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
So in 2002, there were around 8,000 stationers in Germany.
Which is not much.
Not much. But now there's only about 3,500.
That's wow.
So the sales are just as high, but people are just not buying
online.
Everybody's buying online or from places like TK Maxx, I suppose.
Yes, like me.
Yeah. But anyway. So, yes, an interesting market. But I think that's a good place to stop. Are we on the last page of the book?
It's
time for a new notebook.
Our notebook. It's a very interesting topic, because never in a million years did I think we would be dedicating a whole episode for stationery. Yet here we are, and I still have a lot of things that I have not told you, actually.
Yeah, me too. We could have stationery part 2, couldn't we? But let's probably not do that.
No, we will move on to something completely different next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What can we leave with you with? I suppose some words of wisdom. Yeah. We've already talked about chewing on your pen lid. Yes. It could kill you.
Yes.
So to any of our very, very dear listeners out there, do not chew on your pen lids, because I've got the statistic here. On average, 100 deaths every year as a result of pen lids.
If you have to chew on them, choose the ones with the hole in them, okay?
At least that reduces the chance of dying. Yes.
Yeah. No, let's not do that.
Does that mean we get sponsorship for this podcast from Bic? That would be terrific.
Yeah, this episode is sponsored by
Bic Biros. You're not going to choke on that pen.
Yeah. No, we're not sponsored by anyone. We're doing it for the love of this.
Yes.
So...
Are you?
I am. I don't know why you're doing it.
This is part of my, when I was in court, I had to do
civil service.
So I had to do community service.
Community service.
Part of my community service is having to do this podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm grateful that they made you do this with me. Thank you, Tony.
It's a pleasure. Okay. Great. Let's do this again next week. We could do it on stationery.
This time stationery, as like it's not moving.
Yeah, I think that might be confusing for our listeners, because I did find in doing the research that there is a lot of overlap in spelling.
Yeah.
Stationery
find it very
or stationery.
Hard. Stationery.
It's not difficult, is it?
Stationery. No, the one we're talking about today is spelled with E-R-Y at the end. Station. Oh my goodness. Again. Yeah. Okay, then we will see you guys next week with a new topic. We haven't decided yet. Let's go do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Good. Well done.
See you next week.
Bye. We hope that you've enjoyed listening to the readings we chose for you today.
And that our musings have ignited your thoughts.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and those you think would enjoy it.
If you have any thoughts, suggestions, or any kind of feedback, please send us an email using the email in the show notes.
We'd love to hear from you with the words that make you.